The men that I seem to attract just aren't very enlightened. Where are all of the enlightened men? Where are the men that have done work on themselves? Maybe this sounds like you. For yourself, you've done everything right since leaving your marriage or leaving your most recent ex. You have excelled even further in your career. Now that you're free of the weight of that relationship, you've done therapy, you've probably done EMDR, you've taken weekend vacations, you've done retreats, maybe you've done women's retreats, gone on a yoga retreat for a week somewhere in Costa Rica. You've read a lot of books, you listen to a lot of podcasts. You are no stranger to self-help and self-development. But when it comes to your love life, there's still this pattern that shows up, and it's like almost inescapable. And you may be finding yourself feeling like there are no men out there that have done any work on themselves, especially if you keep finding that you are attracting or winding up with men who seem promising in the beginning. They might not necessarily be narcissistic. They're probably a lot, compared to your ex, nicer versions of your ex, but they either don't choose you for whatever reason, they go cold, the relationship or dating scenario fizzles out, and it just doesn't go anywhere. And after speaking with many, 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 many women and having experienced this myself, I want to talk about what is really going on behind the question, where are all of the good men at? Where are all of the enlightened men that have done work on themselves? So the first thing is that those men do exist. And at the same time, there are bad apples everywhere. But there is something interesting that happens, specifically if you've been in a toxic relationship or have a repeat history, is that you don't necessarily, women who repeatedly feel betrayed, let down, disappointed, over time, their tolerance for somebody who seems to color outside of their lines or somebody who doesn't quite fit their checklist gets shorter and shorter and shorter. I'll give you an example, two examples. I had a graduate client recently who shared that, she had her list of the musts that she wants in a partner, and she was going on dates. And after every date, she learned more about what she didn't want, and knowing more about what she didn't want caused her to get more, like, the list got longer, the list got more intricate, the list got more detailed. So when we have disappointing experiences in dating, and that's really our primary experience, we don't have a lot of tolerance for somebody who may not fit the exact picture in our mind. And our tolerance for potential rejection, meaning our capacity to feel slightly disappointed or to feel rejected or to feel like I'm wasting my time, that also gets very short and narrow. So what happens is that we tend to prejudge people, or we tend to, and this isn't always obvious. There are some people that are aware that, yes, I tend to size people up rather too quickly, and I make a judgment about them before really getting to know somebody. This might be true for you if you are getting to a point where you can only get to like the month 2 or month 4 mark with somebody before you finally decide this isn't right for me, or maybe you start devaluing that person or finding things that are wrong with that person. This can be lingering trauma response and a form of self-protection to keep yourself safe from potential rejection or future betrayal, perceived disappointment. And again, that pattern, that short tolerance, a lot of the time is unconscious. It's your nervous system's way of trying to keep you safe. And your body, your nervous system, your brain and your body don't really give a crap about what you want. Your nervous system specifically is more concerned about keeping you safe. And if your experience in love has been rejection, disappointment, I invest all of myself and then I wind up feeling empty and depleted, and it takes me years to move on while they move on extremely quickly, then your nervous system is doubling down on trying to keep you safe. So tolerance is the first root reason behind why you might continue to ask yourself the question, where are all of the enlightened men at? And continue to run into men that seem to never quite fit your standards. The second reason that I'm going to cover about what's really going on behind this question is probably one that might sting a little bit. So if you seem to always, you feel like there are no good men out there, where are all the enlightened men at? Where the men that have done inner work on themselves? Well, you've done a lot of inner work. What is really going on there is judging people out here. They're not meeting my standards, but this is often a projection of how we feel about ourselves. And the women that I have worked with and spoken with over the years, and I am one of these women, by the way, who seems to never find the right person because of X, Y, or Z, it is almost always, there's always a direct correlation with the standards that she sets for herself that are impossible to meet, by the way. The harsh inner critic that is always going on in her mind, the voice inside that is telling her that she needs to be perfect, she needs to work harder, she needs to triple her outcomes from last year or last quarter. That voice, that driver, it's like I'm thinking of like a carriage with a horse and a person who's driving the carriage, and he's like really like spurring the horse to go faster. This type of energy is one that's rooted in a lack of self-acceptance, and one that is, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. I don't feel good enough. No matter what I do, at the end of the day, I never quite feel like I'm good enough. I never quite feel like I fit in. And what happens when we have these belief systems and this emotional template going on inside, and a lot of the time people have this and they've had it for so long that they're not even aware that it's there, and they're not aware how much it influences their choices in life. So if that is you and you're finding like, I am, where are the good men at? Where are the men that have done work on themselves? It's usually also a sign of that you're projecting the ways that you don't accept yourself, the ways that you don't feel good enough. If you don't feel good enough about yourself, you are most of the time going to project that out here into what you get in life and find reasons why somebody is not good enough for you. And again, that is a form of self-protection. And at the end of the day, if you want a healthy relationship and you want somebody safe, it's not necessarily about finding that person who is going to do that for you, although that is a step, but it's a step later in the process. It is first learning how to accept yourself. And this phrase is so cliche, and so many people, and myself included, are like, what exactly does it mean to love yourself? You truly need to be able to feel in love with yourself. You need to believe that you are worthy of having a great relationship and truly feel in love with your life. Sadly, a lot of people, especially if you've done a lot of work on yourself, tend to treat the work that they've done on themselves like a checklist, but they're not actually bringing the work with them in life scenarios and relationships. They're still continuing to fall into the patterns of, I'm not enough. I need to work harder. I need to prove myself. I need to do, after another heartbreak or another dating disappointment, I'm going to take a year off and I'm going to triple down and work even harder on myself. This is all a setup for failure. So if this resonated for you, feel free to leave a comment and let me know. And if you would like to further explore the 5 shifts you must master in order to overcome your own inner roadblocks that are stopping you from feeling happy, fulfilled in your life after leaving a narcissistic relationship, and having success in dating and attracting a healthy partner, then go to bethanydotson.com/masterclass and you can catch my free training. And then if you've been listening for a while, and you're ready to have an honest conversation about whether or not we're going to be a good fit to help you overcome your own inner roadblocks that are trying to keep you safe, but that are ultimately keeping you stuck. This could be unhealed emotional baggage or relational trauma from your marriage. It could be a mountain of trust issues. It could be a lack of confidence, body confidence, not feeling attractive, or just simply a lack of experience. A lot of women that I've worked with have been in very long-term marriages and haven't been on a date literally in 30 years, and they don't have any clue on how to go about that. And so if that's you and you're ready to have a conversation, you can go to bethanydotson.com/talk and book a free breakthrough session. This is a discovery session essentially, where we are going to get clear on the blocks or belief systems, BS, that is holding you back. And the most important part of that call is helping you gain extreme clarity on what you do want, crafting a vision for your life, and most specifically your love life, and how your life will be, and the relationships that will impact the ROI. When I say ROI, it's not necessarily just return on investment, it's a ripple of impact. When you change what's going on for you internally, it touches every single area of your life and benefits all areas of your life, not just your love life. So again, bethanydotson.com/talk or bethanydotson.com/masterclass if you would like to learn a little bit more. Take care and have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.